Hello guys, you're welcome to this video. In this video, we'll be carrying out some projects on data analysis. So basically, we're going to be doing a basic and advanced data analysis project. So in our last video, we created a database using random numbers. So you can have a view of this database here. So you can see here, we created a database using random numbers. Okay. So in this video, we'll be doing basic analysis and advanced analysis of using these data that we have created. Okay. So the first question that let's look at the goals of this project. So the goal of this project is to number one, we're going to find out the number of men versus women. Number two is we're going to find the average age and we'll find the number of each profession. Number four, we're going to be looking at the average income of the people and the average value of cars of the people. And we're going to be looking at the number of persons with debts higher than X. Okay, so we'll also look at the number of persons that has less than X% left on their mortgage. And the advanced question is going to be the average income by territory. So we have here basic questions. So we have basic, and the advanced question will be verifying the average income per territory. Also looking at percentage of people having higher total debts than their yearly income, and we'll also look at average age of people having more than X dollars of network, X dollars of network. Let's put dollars of network, net worth. Okay. So average age of people having more than S dollars of net worth. So let's go to our Excel and start doing the calculation. So the first question here is we're going to find the number of men versus the number of women. Okay. So but first of all, we're going to find the number of men. Okay. So first of all, we're going to find the number of men. So we have a man here. So to find that, we're going to be using an if function. So if an if function starts with an equality sign, so we type if function. Okay. So this is if function. So what we're going to be doing now, so the logical test there will be, we go to where we have we say if, so we want to say that if this where we have main is equal to, if is equal to main, so we want it to return 1. If it's not equal to main, we want it to return 0. So we just click enter. So we can see over here. So we come over here, we just drag this down. Just drag this down to the last row. Okay. Okay, so we're going to do the same with the women. So we're going to use an if function. So say equal to if function. So the same thing, we say if this column is equal to women, be sure to put it in a quotation mark. If this cell is equal to women, we want it to return 1. If not, return 0, and then close the brackets and just hit enter. So we have it here. So what it does, we just double click, and it will run through the last row. Okay, so let's go up. Okay, so we've gotten our men and women. So we want to add up the whole of this column to know the number of men. Okay, so to do that, we come over here. We're going to be using a sum function to add up everything in this column. So we use this sum. So we're going to drag this to the last point. To the last row. Okay. So once you've done that, you close your bracket and just hit enter. Okay. So we have here the total number of men. So you can see where you have 1. This is the men. The number of men is 1 over here. So we are going to add up this 1 together, and we had 2, 1, 2. So we are going to do the same with women. So where we have 1 here, that shows the number of women. So we're going to add up this 1, and will give us the total number of women. Okay, we'll do the same thing. So we start with equality sign, and we use the sum function. Okay, so we just drag this down to the last row. Remember to close the bracket and then hit enter. Okay, so we've gotten our number of men and number of women. So the next question is going to be average age. So you can see we have a column age. So we're going to find the average age of the people. So we use an equality sign. So say it's equal to, we use an average over here. Okay, so we go back to where we have the age. So we just drag this down to the last row. Okay, so just close your bracket and just hit enter. So we can now see we have about 34.8 Okay, so let's just make it in two decimal places. So you can come here. Just come here. Okay, so we made it in two decimal places. So the next question. So let's look at the next question. The next question is we're going to calculate the number of each profession. Okay, the number of each profession. So we have teaching, IT, construction, health, agriculture, and general work. Okay, so before we answer that question, let's just put this. Let's put the borderline for this. Okay, so let's just put a borderline. Let's do same for this one. Okay, so we want to find let's see our question again. So we are looking for the number of each profession now. So the number of each profession will be, so we have teaching. You can come over here. You see where we have a field of works. So these are the profession. Okay, so here we're going to be using an if function again. So we say if. So the logical test will be if this cell is equal to this, where we have the field of work column. If this cell is equal to teaching, we want it to return 1. If not, return 0. Okay, so we do same for IT. So we're going to say if function. So if this cell is equal to IT, we want it to return 1. If not, return 0. We close the bracket and just hit enter. So for construction, we use the if function. Let's just copy this. And then we press it here. So where you have IT here, we're going to change it to construction. And then we hit enter. Okay, so for construction, you just have to copy everything here. You just copy everything, and then where we have construction, you just paste everything there. So the only thing you do is just come and change where we have the IT here, and you put the construction, and then just hit enter. So we do same for health and agriculture and general work. So we just put a copy and paste, and we change this to we change it to health. Just hit enter. We do same with agriculture. Just come here, change this IT to agriculture. We do same with general work. So you just come here, change IT to general work. Okay, just hit enter. So now we're going to drag it down. Let's just drag it down. Okay, so we do same for others. So just put here. So this time just put where you have this black cross. So double click and it will run down. Do same here. Double click. Okay, so we have now our numbers of field of work. We have for teaching, we have for IT, we have for agriculture and general work. So now we're going to be adding these columns up. So we want to know the total number of teachings. So we come here where we have number of teaching. So we say it's equal to, we're going to use some function here. We're going to use some function. So we click on some, and then we drag drag this down. Okay, so close the bracket, hit enter. So we do same for IT. Okay, so we have for IT now. So we'll find the total number of construction. So we still use the sum function. So we'll go for construction and we drag it down. So we add up the health column. We do same for agriculture. So the last one, number of general work. So we add up that column. Okay, so we've solved, we'll find out the number of each profession. So we have the number of teaching, number of IT, number of construction, number of health, number of agriculture, and number of general work. Okay, so we've solved that problem. So we'll go to the next problem, which is the average income of the people. So you can see my column called income over here. So we want to find the average income of these people. Okay, so we use the average function. So we say it's equal to, and we do the average function, see the average function over here. So we go to our income column. So we just drag it down. Okay, so please remember to close your bracket and then hit enter. So we can see our average over here. Okay, so let's just put this. Let's put this in borders so that our work will look neat. So you just come here, click on outer border. So that is it. So we'll do same for this. So let's drag it down. This will help our work look neat. Okay, so we're making progress. So the next question is find the car value for each person. So let's just look at our notepad. So the next question is find the average value of car. Okay, find the average value of car. Okay, so to find the average value of car, we must first of all find the car value for each person. So we come over here. You can see where we have the cars and car values. Okay, so where we have two cars, this is the car value for two cars. So we want to find a car value for one car. So what we're going to do is we're going to divide this car value by the cars. Okay, so we come over here where we have car value for each person. So we're going to be saying we're going to type is equal to, first of all. So we come to where we have a car value. So we want to find the car. This is a this car value that we have here is for two cars. Okay, you can see two cars here. So but we want to find the car value for one person. So we're going to divide car value by this number of cars. Okay, so we click on this cell, which is the car value cell, and we divide it by the cars. Okay, so divided by the cars. So you come here and click here and just hit enter. Okay, so we can see car value for each person over here. Okay, so the next question will be the same question. So we're going to find out average value car of, let's just click on this column and expand it a bit. So we are going to find the average car value. So we just come here. Let's just copy it down to double click. So just drag it down. Okay, so that is the car value for each person. Okay, so we want to find now the average value of cars for each of these persons. So we're going to be using an average function here. So we say it's equal to sign, and we use average function, average. So we're going to take the whole of this column. This is the car value for each person. We're going to drag it down. Okay, so remember to close your brackets, and you don't, you just hit your enter. Okay, so we have the value of car over here. Our value of car is let's just put this in currency. It's about $47,292.84. Okay, so we have solved that problem. Let's put this border. Okay, so we're done with that. Okay, so the next question is the depth. Let's look at the next question. Okay, so the next question is number 6. We're going to find number of person with depth higher than x. Okay, so we're going to find the number of person with depth higher than x. So we have it here. We have the question over here. So, but first of all, we're going to find the depth amount of these persons. Okay, so we have 100,000 here. So let's just say we're going to use an if function here to solve this problem to find the depth amount of people. So we said it's equal to, we use if function. So if we go to where we have the value of depth. Okay, so we have the value of depth. If the value of depth of the people is greater than this cell, so we're going to reference this cell where we have 200 here, 200,000. So we click on that 200,000. So remember to lock yourself by doing remember to lock yourself by just clicking F4, because you are referencing another this cell over here. So you must make sure you lock it. So if the value of depth is greater than this cell 200,000, we want Excel to generate 1. If it's not greater than that cell, so we want it to generate 0. So we just click on enter. Okay, so what we're going to do is just where you have this plus sign, just right click, and then we have our formula over here displayed. Okay, so you can see it over here. So now we're going to answer the question. Now find the number of persons with depth higher than x. So this number of persons with depth higher than 200,000. Okay, so we want to add up this column where we have the depth amounts here. This shows this will give us the total number of people with depth that is greater than 200,000. Okay, so we're going to use the sum function here. So we say it's equal to sum, and then we come here, we just copy this column down. Okay, so just close the bracket and just hit enter. Okay, so we have here number of persons with depth higher than x is equal to 260. Okay, so we have solved that problem. Okay, so let's put a border line over here to make our work look nice. So let's just use the border line. Okay, so let's drag this down. Okay, so let's get to the next question. Okay, so our next question is we've just solved number 6. So the next question is number of person that has less than X% left on their mortgage. Okay, so to find the number of person that has less than X%, so the X% there will be 30%. So you can see it over here. So 30%. Let's say number of person that has less than 30% left on their mortgage. Okay, so to solve this problem, we have a column that we have mortgage. You can see it over here, mortgage left to pay for a value of a house. So we can see the value of a house. So what we're going to do, we're going to divide the mortgage left to pay for the house divided by the value of the house. Okay, so we come over here. So at this point we're going to say it's equal to we go to mortgage left to pay for a house, for the house. So just click on these cells. So we say divided by the value of the house. Okay, so just click enter. So now this is the decimal here over here. So we have to convert it to percentage. So to do that, you come over here. You see where you have percent here. Just click on that. So this person has 48% left to pay on the mortgage. Okay. So at this point, we can just come over here where we have less than. So now we want to find. So now we're going to want to find the number of person that has less than 30% left on their mortgage. Okay. So I want to count the number of these people. So you can see now. Let's just drag this down. Okay, so we have it there. So now we're going to calculate the number of person that has less than X% left on their mortgage. So the X% here is the 30%. So you can see this person have 5% left, 86%, and the next 85, 64. So anyone that has less than 30%, we are going to number them, and then we're going to sum it up the number of person that has less than X%. So that is what we're going to be doing now. Okay, so we come over here and we say um, and we say X is equal to, we are going to use an if function here. So we say if this percent, if a percentage left to pay is less than this cell over here 30%, we want it to return 1. If not, return 0. Okay, so you close up your bracket and hit enter. So you can see this particular cell is 0 because the percentage left to pay is more than 30%. Okay, so first of all, you must make sure you before you drag this down. If you drag this down, you are going to have an error. So you have to lock this cell. Okay, you have to lock this cell first. You can see that cell that is highlighted with red. Is it because that you have to reference this cell over here? We had referenced we need to lock this particular cell over here because we reference this cell. So if you drag it down, you're going to have an error. So we have to lock this cell. So to do that, we just use dollar sign. We use shift and dollar sign there where you have the letter, and you lock it where you have the number in between the letter and the number. So you just lock it there. Okay, so we have locked it. So click on enter. So now we can actually drag it down now. Okay, and you will not have an error. Okay, so we've gotten the number of people that has less than 30% on their mortgage. So what we're going to be doing now, we're going to add them up over here. So we say is equal to, we use the sum function here. So you can see the sum function here. So we're going to sum all of these up and then find the total number of people that has less than 30% on their mortgage. Okay, so we close the bracket and just hit enter. Okay, so we have this number of people. We have 133 people left who has less than 30% on their mortgage. Okay, so we have solved that problem. So let's just put this in a borderline. Okay, so we've solved that problem. So let's get to the next question, which is the advanced question. So we're going to find the average income per territory. Okay, the average income of per territory. Okay, so we have it over here, average income per territory, and we have the territory over here, which is Uyo, Eke, Titinan, Oron, Una, and Ibon. Okay, and then we're going to find the percentage of people. That's another question. So let's first of all find this, the average income per territory. Okay, so to do that, we're going to use. So to first of all extract the income of people per territory, we are going to be using an if function here. So we just want to have a number of people who we just want to extract the income of people in this territory, which is your AK39. So that's what we're going to do now. So before we can now find the average income per territory. So to extract the income per territory, we are going to be using an if function here. So we say it's equal to if function. So our logical test will be, so we said if the area, so we have the area over here. If the area is equal to, so we want to see if the area is equal to the area here with you. We want Excel to generate 1. If it's not equal to you, to generate 0. So we just hit enter. Okay, so to do for the next territory outer view is exit. So we use an if function here, and it will say if the area here is equal to exit, you want Excel to return the income of that person. You want Excel to return the income of that person. If not, 0. So we close that bracket. So we just come over here, you just copy everything here. Okay. So we're going to paste it here instead of starting all over again. So we come over here, you just edit it to 89. And then just click enter. We'll do same for Oron. Just copy and paste, and then you come over here and change to Oron. We'll do same for now. Just come here, edit to now. Edit it to now. So for the last one, which is Ibono, we do same. Okay, so we've gotten our information. So what we're going to be doing, we'll drop this down. So we're going to do same for others. So instead of dragging it down, you just double click and it will run down. Okay, so we've gotten our values over here. So you can see where you have 0, it shows that the income of the territory was not generated. So where you see the numbers here over here shows the income of the person was generated. So what we're going to be doing now, we're going to find the average of this income territory over here. So for the first column here, we're going to be using another function known as average if to find the average, because we cannot just find the average over here because of these zeros. We are going to use average if instead of average here. Okay, so if we use normal average, we'll not really get what we want. So we are going to be using an average if. So you can see average if over here. So the average if is going to ignore the zeros over here, and we'll just focus on the income of the person. Okay, so this function average if is going to ignore the zeros and just focus on the income. Okay, so we use the average if here instead of the average. Okay, so you can choose to remove this zero, or you can choose to allow it be. Okay, so but if you want to make your work neat, you don't want this zero to show up, you don't want to find the average of this income. To do that, you can come over to file. Okay, so let's just cancel our operation first. Okay, so we just come to where we have file, and then you check for more. You come to option. Once you click on options, you can make these changes here. Just click on the advanced over here, the advanced option, and you scroll down where we have the display. You can see let's check to 0 display option for this worksheet. You can see it over here. So you see show a 0 in cell that have 0 value. So it's already showing that it has zeros. So if you unmark it and then you click on OK, you can see now that the 0 is no more. Then you can go on to use the average function, average if function. But for this session, we're going to keep our zeros. So we go back there, we do more and option. Then we go to the advanced options, go to display option for this worksheet, sorry, display option for this worksheet. So we just have to tick our 0 and then we come here and click OK. So we still have our 0 back. Okay, so to find the average if, we say is equal to use the average if function. You can see it over here. So the average if function, so we just have to go up and then we just have to copy this down, copy it down. That is the range. The first argument there is the range. So we're done. So the next argument is the criteria. So we're going to be using a quotation mark, and then we'll do less than and greater than, then we put 0. So it's less than and greater than 0. That is the criteria we have set in place. So you can see the first argument is the range. The next one is the criteria. So the criteria is we are looking for a number that is less and greater than 0. Okay, less and greater than 0. So once you've done that, you close that bracket and just hit enter. Okay, so we can see our average over here. Okay, so we do same for the next territory. So we do is equal to use an average if function. So we just find the range. Okay, so the criteria is less than or greater than 0. Close the quotation and then close the brackets and hit enter. We do same for this territory. So the criteria is less than, greater than 0. Okay, we make a mistake. Okay, we didn't close the quotation mark. Okay, so we have the average if there. So we use the average if here too. So for the last territory, we do the same. Okay, so we just hit enter. So we have our average if here. So we solved that problem. So we just put the border line over there. So let's go up. Okay, so we have solved that problem. So let's get to the next question. So the next question is find the percentage of people having higher total debt than their yearly income. Okay, so we're going to find the percentage of people having higher total debt than their yearly income. Okay, so let's expand this a bit. So we'll first of all find the percentage of people having total debt than their yearly income. So we're going to use an if function here, and we say if the value of debt, we go to where we have value of debt. So we have value of debt here. If the value of debt is greater than the income, if the value of debt is greater than the income of the person, we want Excel to generate 1. If it's not, we want it to generate 0. So we just click on there. So we just want to see the people who has a debt that is greater than the income. So we just run it through. So we can see them over here. So what we're going to be doing next is we're going to find the percentage. So we're going to find the percentage of people having higher debt, total debt than their yearly income. So this is the people that has a debt that is greater than their yearly income. So you see them over here, 10. Okay. So now we're going to find the percentage of these people. Okay. To do that, we're going to start with we're going to divide the sum of these people by the number of these people. Okay. So we're going to first of all use the sum. So we say sum, use equal to sum, use the sum function here. So we're going to sum up these people that has a debt that is greater than their yearly income. So we so we have summed them up, and then we're going to divide these people. You can see we have put division there by the count. Now we're using count to count these people. We're using a function known as count to count the number of people, these people. So we use the count function there. Okay, so the count function there, we're going to copy the count these people from here. Okay, so just count them. Okay, so once you've done that, you close your bracket and just hit enter. Okay. Okay, so we have in decimal over here. So we are looking for the percentage of these people, and we have in decimal here. So what you do is just come over here where we have the percent style. Just click on percent. So we have 94%. So 94% of these people have a debt that is greater than their yearly income. Okay, so we've solved that problem. So we'll get to the next problem. But first of all, let's put this in a border. Okay, so the last question. Let's see. So find the average age of people having more than X dollars of net worth. Okay, find the average age of people having more than X dollars of net worth. Okay, so if the net worth of the person that if the net worth of the people is greater than 100,000, we want Excel to generate the age of the people, and then we'll find the average age of those people. Okay, so that is what we're going to be doing in this question. Average age of people having more than X percent of network. So let's say this is the X percent of the network, which is 100,000, is the net worth of the people. So if the net worth of the person of these people is greater than 100,000, we'll say Excel to generate the age of the people. So that's what we're going to do basically here. So we'll use the if function here. So we say if the net worth, so column here, if the network of net worth, okay, so let's just change it. Let's just put so we are going to solve this problem, but let's just put this. Let's put, because of our network is we have a large value here for our net worth of persons. Is we have a lot of a large value over here in trillions of dollars. So what we're going to do now, so we'll get our analysis right. We're going to put 900 trillion. Okay, so let's see, we've gotten it right. So 900 trillion. Okay, so let's just expand that column. So $900. Okay, so 900 trillion. So we're going to find the average age of people having more than an X percent of net worth. Okay, so what we're going to do. Okay, so we'll use the if function here. So we say if the net worth, if the net worth of the person is greater than, if the net worth of the person is greater than this amount, you can see these cells over here that we're referencing. So we'll lock that cell. By locking that cell, we just click on F4 and then you put a comma. So if the net worth of the person is greater than these cells, which is $900 trillion, we want Excel to generate the age of these people. So we come to where we have the age column. We want Excel to generate the age. So if it's not equal, we want it to generate 0 and just click enter. Okay, so you can have the age of this person over here 32. So it shows that the net worth of this person is greater than 900 trillion. Okay, so let's just copy it down and see to what others have. Okay, so we can have a view of it over here. So we have the age of the people that has a net worth that is greater than 900 trillion. Okay, so what we're going to be doing basically now, we'll calculate the age. We'll calculate the average age of these people. Okay, so calculating the average age, we are going to be using an average if. We're not going to be using an average because of this 0 we have here. Because if we use an average, Excel is going to count it as a value for each of these cells. Okay, and it will give us a total average of these ages. Okay, and Excel is going to take in consideration these zeros. Okay, and that will not give us the right value, the right average that we're looking for. So to do that, we're going to be using an average if, which Excel is going to ignore this 0 like we did in this other problem that we solved. So we're going to use an average if. So Excel is going to ignore these zeros over here and just focus on the age of the people. Okay, so we use the average if to get this done. Average if. So we're going to copy this range. So the first argument there is a range, and then we have the criteria, which is the second argument. So we just have to copy this range down to the top. Okay, just put a comma. So the next argument is the criteria. So we do less than greater than 0. It's less than greater than 0. So Excel here is going to look for a value that is greater than 0. Okay, less than and greater than 0, and then it will take those numbers, okay, into consideration. Okay, so this less than greater than shows that it must not be 0. Okay, so Excel will ignore this 0 and will look for these numbers that these ages of the people that was generated, and it will ignore the zeros. Okay, so that is what the formula means. So we just close the quotation mark and then close the bracket and then hit enter. So we can now have the age of the people over here. Okay, let's just put this in order. Okay, so we have solved a problem. Okay, so let's put this. Okay, guys, we have come to the end of this video. We have done a calculation, basic and advanced calculations on data analysis. In the next video, we'll be putting these answers into our dashboard. We'll be creating dashboards using Excel. Okay, so see you in the next video.